What up, you prejudiced human scum? How do you feel about a road trip with your emotionally absent father figure? Because we got tons of it right here. And by tons, I mean 3 episodes worth, as that's how much I've watched so far, as I'm a slave to tradition. I'm Jamie, and this is Somali and the Forest Spirit. Before we hop into what I think about the series so far, let me just give you a base outline of the premise. This story is set in a fantasy world where non-human species seem to live in harmony, and humans are exceedingly rare. Once both humans and non-humans lived in relative peace, but the humans being, humans, started being total dicks to the other races, which eventually led to an all-out war that went horribly for the humans, hence their current rarity. Our actual story, however, picks up following a golem acting as the forest guardian, finding a young human girl in chains, alone in the forest, and deciding to help her find her parents. The problem in doing this, however, is the so far hinted at dangers surrounding Somali and all other humans. In all essence, this is a road trip series, a journey with a defined goal but not a defined destination. And as the story has been set up so far, the journey seems to be more important than how it will end.
町の住人を観察して発見したのだが、手を握り合う行為は単独行動を防ぐのに有効だ。
Denied!
I'll start with what I believe to be this show's biggest selling point so far, the characters. And we only have 2 mains so far, which means they get a fair amount of focus despite only being 3 episodes in. Our 2 mains are the titular Somali and the Golem, who happens to be the forest spirit half of the title. Somali is a young human girl who, with all honesty, there's not much I can say about her yet other than basic personality traits. She's energetic, which contrasts nicely with the golem who she calls Dad. Easily distracted by literally anything, but the most often object of her distraction are usually fluffy animals, which I mean, obviously, these things are adorable. She does seem somewhat oblivious to what's going on around her, probably due to her young age and hyper personality, as you don't get the impression that she quite understands the danger she could be in. Somali is this show's overall tone setter, as she brings pure joy and excitement to everything around her. However, as a character, she's a fairly standard anime child. But Jamie, didn't you say the characters were the selling point, and yet you've just called one of them fairly standard? How is that a selling point? Well, my dear Segway, that is because I have saved the best and most interesting character for last, the Golem. He has no actual name and is meant to be emotionless and robotic, and yet throughout watching these first few episodes, he has been the main reason for my intrigue towards this show. Before I continue, I'm going to have to give him a name, because referring to him simply by his species feels impersonal, and I'm not just going to go and call him Dad. That's weird. So I'm going to have to go for Anime Captain Holt. As not only does that mean I get to insert Brooklyn Nine-Nine clips into this review,
Hot damn!
but it's also a strangely apt description of the character. An allegedly emotionless authority figure protecting and guiding a child, which pretty much makes Somali Peralta.
And I'm fine with that.
Anyway, Anime Holt speaks mainly in monotone, efficient sentences, which on the surface makes him seem like how he says he is, but his actions and slight mannerisms show cracks in the armour, speaking quite literally of his constant glances at his own crumbling body, showing a level of concern for his own mortality, which is what first sparked my interest. Also, why is a guardian of a forest who spent hundreds of years protecting and keeping order among animals now completely deserting this forest to help one lost child back to parents who might not even be around anymore? His overall character and what it could become carry this show almost completely. The way he fully blackmails a jeweler into paying him was amazing and did a great job in explaining how he is able to understand the workings of society by pure observation, despite the fact he up until now has basically been living with just animals. However, the main focus is his relationship to Somali. This is so far shaping up to be one of intense emotion for me due to the budding familial bond between them, with Somali's blind adoration for Anime Holt and his emotional growth which go against his initial purpose.
悪いようにはしない。来てはくれないか。一つ尋ねたいのだが、この辺りに町はあるか？
Sir, I am a rabbit.
The world of this show has so far not been a disappointment either. Its art style and animation complement each other. Its creatures are all interesting and well designed, and the world has a weird sense of unease about it, despite the show's general light tone. The way other species talk about humans, mainly about how they tasted, and the last time that they were seen were at markets, gives the assumption that humans only really exist as slaves or livestock, and Somali's original appearance does feed into this. So while the characters themselves are cheerful and light, and the world around is beautiful and vibrant, it does seem to give off this harsh and sinister tone that contrasts so well.
静かに動くな。
This feels like something I will definitely stick with. The intrigue of the world and everything about Anime Halt has me hooked. I can't really find anything overtly negative to say about the show either. It's a simple setup which gives it so much more room to grow. It does seem to be going for a rather episodic journey structure. Having said that, the last episode I watched before making this video had a cliffhanger, so who knows? That theory could be absolutely wrong. But hey, this is a first impression. I don't actually have to be right about anything. Watching this, I have had a constant feeling of unease, which honestly could all be in my head. The world building and background dialogue give off hints of a much darker story, which I'm not sure I'm ready for, especially for these characters, that despite my very limited time with, I have grown rather fond of. However, I'm usually pretty awful at picking up on subtle hints and world cues, which leaves me torn, as on one hand, a darker story would make for a far more interesting plot overall, but who doesn't want a happy ending, especially for this adorkable double act? I've realised that since I started making videos, I've now covered 3 shows that deal with a very similar setting to this one in either aesthetic or premise. To be clear, I've only really made like 7 videos so far, so I'm thinking maybe I have a type that piques my interest, but hey, 2 out of those 3 have been pretty great. The one that wasn't though was pretty damn awful.
包みとノジュ社の香草焼きだ。カロリーの総量は595。うちタンパク質 20.94。脂質 16.31。それからそこまで丁寧に説明しなくていいですから。そうか。
So, with my thoughts about the show out of the way, I would like to give a few thoughts on where I think the series might go with its narrative and such. Personally, with the uneasy dark undertone around the series, I'm expecting things to get, well, dark. And or heartbreakingly sad. The history that humans started the war fueled by their own prejudices is fully believable. I mean, I've actually been outside recently, and yeah, humans have a tendency to do things not in their best interests. However, I'm also fully aware that history is written by the victors, and what we've been presented with so far might not be entirely true, and I'm interested to see where that could go, if it's even a thing. For me, there is no way that the characters, having been set up how they have, could satisfactorily end in anything located near positive, and watching it with my love of these characters is making the viewing rather stressful. Having said that, I am hoping Somali finds a family in a place without the need to hide what she is, as it's proven that wherever she goes, people love her for her bubbly personality.
本当にあいつのことが大好きなんだな。よし、じゃあもう一頑張りすっか。
I would very much recommend you check out Somali and the Forest Spirit, and if you feel the same, you can stream it all on Crunchyroll. If you somehow stood my voice this long, thank you so much. If with the longer odds you've actually enjoyed the video, please consider liking and subscribing. And as always, I love to talk with people about the shows I cover, so if you've seen it, comment down below, tell me what you think. Again, thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.